Hi, this is Robin Morath, post-secondary counselor at Maine South High School, here with a quick check-in as we approach November 1, early action, early decision deadlines, and some reminders for financial aid. I am recording this on Friday, October 17th, just to give you context for whenever you're watching this. We're about 2 weeks ahead of that November 1 deadline. So I wanted to just give some information for students and parents, guardians, supporters, who's ever helping you in your college search as we move through the process, just to give you some reminders here. So November 1st is super important for a couple reasons, namely because it's your best chance of admission, especially for competitive programs like nursing, engineering, and business. And also it's a priority scholarship consideration. So if you're a qualified applicant and you may qualify for automatic or a review of your merits, this is the deadline that you want to hit because priority consideration is given to students who meet this deadline. There are some exceptions of students who are not going to hit that early action deadline, but you've probably already talked either with me or your counselor regarding that. Otherwise, we really encourage you to meet that November 1st deadline. And it's November 1st at 11:59 p.m. So Saturday at 11:59 p.m. or potentially November 3rd. Some colleges moved it to November 3rd off the weekend, so you have a couple extra days if you need it as well. But check your deadlines because that's going to be important to know. There are student responsibilities. We're going to go through these one by one through the slideshow so that you know what you need to check and just make sure of it as we get to that date. So the first thing you're going to want to do is confirm some items on SchoolLinks. This is viewed only through the student SchoolLinks account. So if you're a parent watching this, check in with your child to make sure that he or she knows how to do this. We've talked about this before. They've seen it with their counselors and in some advisory lessons, but it's always good to just kind of go through this again. So the main thing you want to do is log into your SchoolLinks account, go to college on the left-hand side, and then college application manager, and your list of schools should pop up. Basically, to see anything, you're going to have to click on that pencil icon. If you're viewing your list of colleges and you're like, wait a second, I've already applied and I'm still seeing schools in the incomplete column when they should be moved over to that middle completed and pending column, what's going on? I will show you in the next slide what is likely happening. So if you see that, you definitely want to go ahead and click on that pencil icon, and then you're going to be able to see this screen. So this is just a demo of Penn State University. If you click on the pencil icon, this is what screen is going to show. So moving from left to right, the left-hand side is a student checklist column. So you will see a lightning bolt if you've already submitted your application. And that happens automatically because your Common App and your SchoolLinks accounts are linked. So you don't have to do anything, it will just automatically check itself off. If it's not checked off, it's because you haven't submitted yet, okay? There might be a slight variance. If you did not use the Common App, you may have to manually check this off, okay? That same manual checklist you will have to apply to any other items listed in that checklist. So if it says self-reported transcript and academic record, that is just reminding you that Penn State asks that you self-report your transcript via a platform called STARS. So you can go ahead and manually click on that to check it off, and then that will move Penn State into, or whichever college you're checking off for, into the completed and pending column. So you do have to go through all of your schools to make sure there's nothing missing. It's really just a check and balance to make sure that you are aware of potential additional requirements for that college. Okay, so it's actually a good thing. You just have to make a mental note to go through and do that with all of your colleges. As we move to the right, you're going to see the teacher evaluations column. This is the teacher letter of recommendations. In my example here, I have a teacher who has not yet submitted, so you can see the requested by and then the student's name and then the date. And then if it says submitted and it's in green, with a date, you know that they've submitted it. Eventually, it will say downloaded by college. So if it doesn't say downloaded by college yet, but it's submitted, that just means the college hasn't downloaded items yet. And since we're ahead of that November 1st deadline, that's pretty typical. They're likely not going to start downloading it until November 1st or after. Okay. You can see the dates. It's really nice. The other thing that you should be aware of is please don't wait on your teachers. Go ahead and submit your applications when you're ready. They do have until the deadline to submit despite when you ask them. So even if you ask them on September 6th, they have until November 1st. So please give them the courtesy. Some of our teachers are writing north of 40 letters of recommendation, so please be patient with them and grateful that they are contributing to your college application process. Okay, so we do want to be patient with that. They will hit the deadline. They will. They do every year. Okay. Next column is the counselor documents, and this is where the school report and the transcript. So the school report contains the official transcript, so the counselor does send that. If you need a letter of recommendation from your counselor, not all colleges require a letter of recommendation, but some do. If you need one, you do need to fill out that letter of recommendation form for counselors. It's on your Google Classroom for the class of 2026. As a side note, all of those forms, counselor letter of recommendation, teacher letter of recommendation form, I only grant access to Maine 207 users, so students only have access to that. I do not grant that to other people for security purposes. Mid-year reports will be sent in January if needed. We don't need to worry about that right now. There will be more information that we share with you in January when you're back from winter break. Another thing that students need to be mindful of is submitting official SAT or ACT scores if applicable. If you're applying test optional, you don't need to worry about this slide, but if you are using your test score, you need to double check if the college requires official test score reports from either College Board, which is the SAT, or ACT for the ACT. How do you know which colleges require this? Just Google the college name plus testing score policy and it should pop up. So some examples of schools that require official score reports are University of Wisconsin-Madison, The Ohio State University, University of Texas, Austin, and University of Georgia. So if those schools are on your list, there are others, so don't just rely on those 4 schools. Please double check on your own. Some of you may have noticed you need to self-report your transcript. I'm sorry, it would be really great if they just accepted your transcript, but some schools do require this step. The STARS platform is very popular. Many schools use that. Penn State, University of Tennessee, Clemson, etc. Some schools don't use it. So the biggest example of this would be U of I. They have their own platform. You don't gain access to that until you submit your until you submit your application, and then you gain access to it. Just keep checking your emails. The colleges are really good about communicating with you, but you do need to read your emails to make sure that you haven't missed a step. The other platform is within the Common App, and this is the courses and grades section. So I've just made a screenshot of an example of this section, and just a reminder, you do not need to fill out the final column here. We don't average grades. This is not the final exam. If you've already submitted your application or a couple applications and you filled this column out, don't worry about it. Okay, it's not a big deal. Just moving forward, just delete that, or if you haven't filled it out yet, you don't need to. A reminder that our grading scale is A through F. Our GPA scale is a 4.0, but our grading scale is an A through F. No pluses, no minuses. Okay, you might need your unofficial transcript to fill out all that self-reported stuff. So to do so, I know you can get it in Infinite Campus, but I think it's super easy in SchoolLinks as well. So here's a way to get it. Go to SchoolLinks, your student icon on the left-hand side, record requests, download unofficial transcript. Oops. Okay, what happens when you submit all of your applications is then you'll start getting emails from the colleges saying, please set up your application or applicant portal. If you apply to 10 colleges, you're going to have 10 portals to manage. I cannot stress enough how important it is to read the emails and set up these applicant portals, because now everything's going to go through the portal. Your admission decision, your financial aid information, potential scholarship application, extra applications, honors applications, etc. This becomes the home of communication for each college. So if you applied to 20 colleges, you're going to have 20 portals to manage. So just be mindful of that. Write down your username and your passwords for all of these so that they are easily findable as you move through the process. Because once you leave the Common App, you're kind of done with the Common App. Moving on to the FAFSA. What about the FAFSA? Well, the FAFSA is the free application for federal student aid. I think a lot of people are familiar with it, even if you haven't filled it out yet. So the timeline real quick is October 1st, it opened, as well as the CSS profile, which I'll explain a little bit more as we move through this video. You will have a PDF of the slideshow, so you'll be able to click on these links as additional resources. If you have kind of no concept of what the FAFSA or financial aid, you likely will want to start by reading Financial Aid 101, which is a 2-page document that explains what financial aid is and what it isn't and where it comes from. Financial aid tips for the class of 2026. This is a little bit more of a deep dive into the FAFSA and how to file it and what information you need. So I would highly recommend also looking at that resource. The CSS profile is a secondary financial aid form that some highly selective colleges require in addition to the FAFSA. So I think it's important to note it's not instead of the FAFSA, it's in addition to. So for families that want a financial aid package from a school that requires the profile, you will need to file the FAFSA and the profile. It doesn't matter what order you file them in as long as they're both filed. So most families will start with the FAFSA because it should take about 20 to 25 minutes to complete once you're into it. You should do the FAFSA together with your student. Like I would recommend sitting down with your student side by side and have the student start the FAFSA, and then they will invite the parent to complete. So you only need one parent to complete, and there's information about how to figure out if it's a divorce situation, separated information. There is information in the financial aid tips to determine who would be the parent that would help the student file. The profile is going to take a little bit longer than 20 or 25 minutes. I have completed it myself for my own child, and it took hours. It might not take as long for every family, but it does do much more of a deep dive into assets and things like that. So that's just a little bit of a warning that you will need to block off some time to do the CSS profile. And that's really more, students can help with it, but it's really a lot more parent information. So please read through on that. We do have resources to help our families with these FAFSA and financial aid completions. So we have completion workshops. We had one already last week at Maine South, so the next two are tomorrow. I'm recording this on October 17th, so Saturday, October 18th at Maine East, and then Wednesday, November 19th at Maine West. If you click on the completion workshop links, it will take you to the flyer with more details on time, location, and what to bring with you. If you're going to these workshops, a parent and a student should go together. If a parent shows up, you're not going to be able to complete it because you need the student to do the student section. So if you want to complete it at the workshop, go together and bring a Chromebook or a laptop or some device, not your phone, that you can use to fill it out because it's not mobile friendly. We also have our ISAC rep who will be in the CCRC at Maine South every other Tuesday. So the next Tuesday she'll be here is October 21st, and then every other Tuesday as we move throughout the spring semester. It's a really great resource. Students and families can come and meet with Ms. Choi, that's the name of our ISAC rep, to ask questions about financial aid, to get help with the FAFSA, etc. Please do check the website of your colleges for those deadlines. There are FAFSA and CSS profile deadlines. They typically tend to be a little bit later than what the application deadlines are, but do check that, okay? My advice is, if you haven't filled out the FAFSA yet, you still have plenty of time. Thanksgiving is a good kind of date to have everything done by, I think. Okay, that's a good goal. If you do it before that, even better. But Thanksgiving would be a good time. So end of November is something that I would shoot for. We will talk about the scholarship search. I'm getting some questions about finding scholarships, and we definitely will go over that. There is an upcoming advisory, and I will also push out a video for parents about the scholarships search as well. So that is upcoming. Okay, to review, how do you get more information? Well, if you're watching this, you got this through the Hawk Squawk, you're already ahead of the game, you're reading exactly what you need to be reading because I put everything in the Hawk Squawk that I want parents to be aware of. I also put things on the Class of 2026 Google Classroom, which I know parents can't access, which is why the Hawk Squawk is so important, but all of this information also lives on the CCRC website. So you can just Google CCRC Maine South and this should pop up. There's also information on school links. If you log into your account and click on that megaphone, it will pull up past announcements that I've pushed out through school links. So there's multiple ways of finding information, but if you can't find information or it's just buried somewhere and you can't find it, please email me and I will be happy to help you navigate where to find that information. This is my email under here, and just a reminder, I pushed this flyer out in the last Hawk Squawk. One last just kind of reminder and just key thing to keep aware of is that colleges are receiving thousands of documents, letters, transcripts, applications. It takes them a while. It doesn't happen instantaneously. So it can be hard to think like, oh, I submitted, all of my things should be received on the date that I submitted it. And unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. It can take 7 to 10 days for all of your things to be matched up with your application. So you may be getting email reminders from colleges that say, hey, we don't have your transcript yet. But they probably do, so check in school links to see when it was downloaded. So just give them time. There's some lag time. Give them time to match everything up, and then it will show. So setting up those application portals will also help you determine when they've received it. I went through this myself last year with my son, who's now a freshman in college, and it does take a couple days or a week or two for them to receive everything, but then they do, and it's all fine. So you can check through school links when those dates of download are, and it will help ease that mind frame as you work through this. Also, drop in application help sessions. We have 2 remaining on October 20th and October 27th. Those are the 2 next Mondays in October. Take care, thanks for watching, and good luck.